Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Thoughts of a Rambling Mind. As you know, I only make videos when I find something intriguing, and of course, I'm intrigued.
I don't care who it is, boy. You hit here with 8-ounce gloves? Oh, they gonna do a pretty little dance.
Keith, one time Thurman.
Keith Thurman Jr. was born in 1988, is a former unified champion, and is ranked as the 5th best welterweight in the world. Thurman is a fighter in a fast diminishing class of boxing legends, including names like Kell Brook and Shawn Porter. These fighters represent the elites of a previous generation, the changing of the guard, if you will. Although Terrence Crawford has fought a number of members of this club, they were not considered viable competition at the time of their fights. In the case of Errol Spence, however, he's honed the ability to meet these fighters when still considered a threat and is able to beat the last ounce of credibility from their careers. The next fights for Spence and Crawford will open a chasm between their records that lowers the likelihood of a deal tremendously. And with a record of 31-1, Keith is a winner. And with 22 KOs, he is the most formidable of any opponent either has fought. Keith won multiple middleweight amateur tournaments, but couldn't get past Demetrius Andretti. And so his 2007 Olympic hopes were stifled. Shortly after this, Keith turned pro at 18 years old, where he achieved a first-round KO in his debut fight. His second fight ended the same way 1 year later. In 2009, Thurman fought Francisco Garcia, although this fight lasted only 3 minutes. The no contest decision recorded due to the headbutt would stain his record for the rest of his career. In March 2013, Keith moved down to welterweight division to fight the former IBF champion, Jan Zavic. This unanimous decision victory made him WBO Intercontinental Champion. This was the first time we saw Thurman go past the 8th round, and stamina issues were evident. In July of that same year, Thurman challenged Diego Gabriel Chavez for the WBA welterweight title. Keith won an impressive, exciting fight by way of KO. The fight was very competitive and launched his stardom and began his legacy. The list of opponents that follows is nothing short of remarkable. You would be hard-pressed to find a fighter with the names that are on Thurman's record and have marks in the win column for each. Champion Julio Diaz, undefeated Leonard Bundle, former champion Robert Guerrero, Luis Collazo, Shawn Porter, and undefeated champion Danny Garcia with some of the names on this list. He beat Danny to eventually become unified champion. Inconsistent health began to plague Keith Thurman's career. Injuries and layoffs would categorize the next few years of his career, and for the first time, the undefeated fighter began to be questioned. January 2019, Thurman would meet Josito Lopez, who called Thurman a tune-up fighter. Thurman won the decision, which set up a fight with the legend Manny Pacquiao in July 2019. Pacquiao took the fight early. Thurman came on strong late, ultimately falling short of victory. After this defeat, Thurman went on a nearly 3-year hiatus until his next fight, which would be against champion Mario Barrios, who, like Thurman, came off of his first loss in the previous fight against Gervonta Tank Davis, where he was stopped. They fought in February of 2022. And although not an impressive performance, Thurman has strategically maneuvered himself to be fighting Errol Spence for 3 belts in the division. 2 of these belts he had already achieved. This Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman fight is happening only because of the fall through in the negotiations between the Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight. Terrence Crawford is now going on to fight David Abanesian. And honestly, when you compare the 2 fighters, Keith Thurman to David Abanesian, there's very little comparison that can be made as far as skill or career-wise. This fight will hurt the legacy of a Terrence Crawford while furthering the legacy of Errol Spence. It makes me wonder, what will a new negotiation look like when they meet again at the table?
Keith, one time Thurman.
Yeah, really, I don't want to watch them Van McLeod no more. Put my trust in them and I will not lose.
These are my thoughts for Rambling Mind. Like, share, subscribe, and comment.